This is the Juggernaut flying wing from SweepWings. I've been talking with Ruben over at SweepWings for a while now. He's been watching several of the videos that I've been doing on fixed wings and Pixhawk for aerial mapping. So Ruben reached out and we decided to collaborate and ultimately do a series that showcases the Juggernaut in action with Pixhawk. He's made some great mods to the Juggernaut to allow some of the telemetry, GPS, compass, all of that to fit in here nicely. And I thought this would be a neat series to do in conjunction with the Get FPV QAV 500 series. So we can see how to set up Pixhawk in both a fixed wing platform as well as a multi-rotor, and ultimately compare the differences of how Pixhawk performs in a fixed wing versus a multi-rotor platform. And before I dive into some of the details that Ruben has put into this mod, I'd like to show you guys sort of an evolution of winged platforms that I've been flying for the past few years that ultimately has led us to this one. So a few years ago, this is where it all started with my Bixler. Did some simple mods, cutouts to ultimately put a camera inside. See the camera lens stuck out there. And then my cables ran up here to set the APM 2.5 on the top of the cockpit. Definitely not a lot of room, but was able to get everything into this pretty tight platform. Now, Bixler is super fun to fly and actually did really well with APM, but I started flying with bigger cameras and needed more space and do things such as including telemetry as well as being able to upgrade to the Pixhawk, which would have a tough time fitting in this platform. So after Bixler, I upgraded to this big daddy. It's the Penguin FPV plane. Now in the Penguin, I actually flew with APM 2.6, flew really well, and I started to run into problems in headwinds. There was just so much force that really kept this thing from going forward. You know, there were days where I was out flying and it was like a few hundred feet in the air and it almost looked like it was moving backwards. So after that, I decided I wanted to simplify a little bit and go to more of a delta wing format. So I decided to pull out APM 2.6 and put it in this SX260 Phantom FPV plane. This is a great wing. I've enjoyed flying with it. I still do fly with it quite a bit. I actually had to do this little cardboard cutout so I could have basically a top deck and a lower deck. Battery goes underneath. I put a cutout for a camera, airspeed sensor up front, and this thing has just done incredibly well. But then I decided, hey, I want to try the downward gimbal. I'm sure you guys have seen that project. Still working on it for those who are interested. And so I needed a little bit more space in the cockpit. So that led me to the big brother of the SX260. This is the SX79. They call it the Buffalo. I don't know why that doesn't sound very aerodynamic, but that being said, a lot of cockpit space, had Pixhawk in here, had the camera, could get a couple batteries back here, and you can see that cutout is pretty huge, and that's just from experimenting with that downward gimbal. And so basically, having flown with this for probably a year now, come to the realization it's a little too big. And the reason I've enjoyed this delta wing format is there are less moving parts. You have your throttle and then two flaps, so that simplifies things in the air. And ultimately, I've decided now, after talking with Ruben, we want to just downsize a little bit. The Juggernaut, I believe, is about a 48-inch wingspan, and so that's what we're going to try. Okay, back to the Juggernaut. As I mentioned before, there are cutouts for our 3DR radio, our buzzer, GPS compass, plenty of space in here. Our battery sits nicely in here. Now, I've actually flown this. I always recommend flying manually with no avionics or autopilot initially. With this 5,000 milliamp battery, this thing flew incredibly well. I don't have the winglets on right now. In a future video, I'll cover setting that up. After talking with Ruben, we estimate that this with Pixhawk and a camera can get anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes of flight time, so that's going to be perfect. We'll be able to get a lot of coverage. And what I'm going to do after I get Pixhawk installed and configured is we'll do a cutout so that we can fit the Canon SX260 in here. He has this nice little mock camera, 7.8 ounces, that will sit right in here. That's the size and weight of the SX260, so we'll do the cutout. I'm super excited about this build. Been looking at SweepWings for some time. Thank you, Ruben, for sending this. I think we're all going to enjoy, hopefully, seeing this thing in the air and performing well. If you guys have any questions or comments, please post them below. And until next time, thanks for watching.